Before starting off with random variables, let us know the difference between a variable and a constant. Constant is a value which will not change unless until any arithmetic operations has been done on that particular value. Let's take an example of numerical numbers like whole numbers or natural numbers, whatever it might be. 5 is always a 5 until unless you do any addition or subtraction, the value of 5 will never change. But while coming back to the concept of variable, variable is a place where you store all these constants. It is a location of a constant where you are storing a constant is called as a variable. So now let us see what do you mean by a random variable. A real number capital X associated with the outcomes of a random experiment. It can take any one of the various possible values, each with a definite probability. Now they themselves they are saying that the definition is saying that a real number means what? X can take the values from either from minus infinite to plus infinite. Either it can be a natural number, whole number, a negative numbers, or a fraction, everything, a complex number, whatever the numbers it can assume. And this is associated with the outcomes of a random experiment. See, the second word is random experiment. Already we have discussed that random experiment means what? An experiment which is repeated under homogeneous conditions is called random experiment. Like, let's take an example of tossing of a coin. If you're tossing with your right hand for the first time, let's do the same thing with the same condition. That means if you are repeating the same experiment for n number of times under same conditions, then that is called as a random experiment. That experiment can be resulted in two outcomes. A coin is having either a head or a tail. See, I have given the example on the right hand side. This is an X which is associated with the outcomes of a random experiment. X is associated with the outcomes. That means when you're tossing off a coin, how many outcomes do we have? We have only two. Either it can be a head or a tail. So out of these two, and the continuation of the definition is it can take any one of the various possible outcomes, each with a definite probability. That means what is the probability of getting head? It is 1 by 2, and the tail is also 1 by 2. As of now, once we speak about the concept of tossing of a coin, you try to assume the experiment on your mind, right? Once you are keeping that onto the pictorial, that means once if you are placing on the screen or once you are writing on a paper, now, and that is assigned to one value. What is that value? That is called as X. Then if you are assigning the outcomes of an experiment to this X value, then X is said to be a random variable. X can take all possible outcomes of a random experiment along with their each with a definite probability. See, probability of getting head is 1 by 2 we have mentioned, and probability of getting tail is also 1 by 2. Now head can be defined as 0 and tail also can be defined as 1, or it can be reversed also. Why? Because see, once if you are tossing a coin, you want a tail. That means if you are getting a tail, that is success for you, and failure is the another side of the coin. So we always try to define 0 as the failure and success as our 1, or you can take any other values also here. Okay, so if you are writing in this manner, and then this real value X is called as a random variable, and X can be of two different types. One is discrete random variable and the other one is continuous random variable. Discrete means, see, a random variable X can assume only a finite or countably infinite set of values. It is known as discrete random variable. Let us take an example. If there are 60 students in a class, can I count the number of students? Of course I can count the number of students. Number of students in a college, of course I can count the number of students in a college or in a particular area or in a particular town or a particular state. But it is up to the countable set of values, and each person is having their own unique IDs over here. Let's take an example of your Aadhaar number, and these Aadhaar cards will never be matched with any other person. The number of the Aadhaar card will never be matched. Either your name might match but not your Aadhaar card number. Either your roll numbers in the college or in your classroom will never be same. That means each and every person is unique, and you can count those number of people or the number of things, then that is called as discrete random variable. Now, next one is continuous random variable. If the random variable x can assume infinite or uncountable set of values within a range, then it is said to be a continuous random variable. Now, let's take an example of I wanted to find out the height of you people. Say I wanted to place you all people in some particular range. Let's take an example. I am starting with the minimum height of your classes. Let's take an example. It's only 4.5 and the highest is, let's take as 6. Okay. The highest person in the class is 6 and the shortest person in the class is 4.5. Now, what is the actual gap between these two? It is only 1.5 feet. Okay, 1.5 feet. Now, then how do you measure all these people? That means I can place all 60 people within 1.5 scale rating only, or I can keep all the MBA students in our college within the range of 4.5 to 6. That means uncountable set of values within a specified range. Here, the height of yourself and your friends might match all the time. The marks of you and your friends might match. If I keep an examination of 10 marks, you might get 10 marks and your friend also might get the 10 marks. Here, the numbers are being repeated. The height of you and your friends are repeating. The weights of you and your friends might also tally for some time. The age between you and your friend also might be the same. So that means I can place n number of people within a short range. Then that is called as continuous random variable. Here everything is not unique. Everything might repeat over here. If that is not repeating and if that can be counted on fingers on a table or wherever it might be, then that is said to be a discrete random variables. Okay. And discrete, let's take an example of your phone numbers, Aadhaar card number, roll numbers. All these things are of discrete. Your height, weight, next just now I was saying the different examples, all this comes under continuous random variable. The marks, all the age, all these factors comes under continuous random variable. Discrete random variable is denoted by sigma. Okay, it's highlighted on with the red colored mark, sigma, and continuous random variable is denoted by integration. Okay, the lowest value will be at the down part of the integration and the highest value will be on the top of the integration part, 4.5 to 6. That is how we place there. Now, when do we say that x is a random variable, man? If x is associated with an experiment. What is the experiment over here? Tossing of a coin. And x can take what are the values now? Possible outcomes of that experiment. Either it can go with head or tail. Let's take an example of throwing a die. Then x will be taking the numbers from 1 to 6. Okay, if you're considering the total experiment, each with a definite probability, then that variable is said to be a random variable. Now, till now we used to find out mean and variance for a normal distributions which are given to us. For suppose if we wanted to find out mean variances for probability distributions, probability functions, then how do we do that? Directly we do not say it as a mean, but we say the concept as a mathematical expectation. The mean of the probability function is called as mathematical expectation. Let's see the definition of that, means the statement of mathematical expectation. If capital X is a random variable which can assume any one of the values, that means x1, x2, x3 up to xn with respective probabilities p1, p2, p3 up to so on pn, then the mathematical expectation of x, it is also called as expected value of x, and is denoted by what? Capital E of x, capital E of x, and is given by the formula if x1, x2. That means if an experiment is resulting n outcomes, x1, x2, x3 up to xn, and each outcome will be having a probability, right? Like p1, p2, pn. Now, how to get the mean of the given distribution? Then you have to multiply the outcome with their respective probabilities. Now, x1 into p1 plus x2 into p2 plus x3 into p3 up to so on xn into pn. Now, let's take an example of this throwing a die. See, x is taking how many number of values here? I just now was saying in the statement that it is up to xn. Now here in this case of die, it is up to x6, and each one is having their own probabilities. Probability of getting number 1 is 1 by 6, probability of getting number 2 is 1 by 6. Likewise, we have up to 6 now. For this particular distribution, how do you find out the mean? See here, first one, 1 into 1 by 6 plus 2 into 1 by 6 plus 3 into 1 by 6, 4 into 1 by 6, 5 into 1 by 6 plus 6 into 1 by 6. That is how you try to find out the value of the mean. Okay, so here this expression can be written in a single form, that is summation xi into pi. Summation means addition. Okay, and this summation runs from 1 to n, x is equal to 1 to 6. Okay, or that can also be written as summation small x into p of x. Okay, outcome into its probability of getting that particular outcome, and where summation pi is equal to 1. That means what? Total probability should be equal to 1 all the time, unless until that is not a problem under probability. Why? Because our total probability should be equal to 1, right? See, the addition of both the outcomes of a coin is 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2. This is equal to 1, right? And the die is also, if you add all the outcomes 1 by 6, 1 by 6, 1 by 6 up to 6 times, you get 6 by 6, that is equal to 1. That means under random variables, if we are solving any problem, the first condition what we need to cross check is whether the total probability is equal to 1 or not. If that is equal to 1, we will continue with the problem. Otherwise, we simply write it as data is inconsistent. Now, before moving on to the problems, let's see the properties of mathematical expectation. There are some properties. Everyone will be having their own properties, right? Like your attitude, your behavior, everyone is not same. Similarly, the mathematical expectation is also having some properties, a very simple properties. The first one is expectation of a constant is a constant. Expectation of a constant is a constant. I have written the example on the right side here. Expectation of 5 is equal to 5. Expectation means what? Mean. Mean of 5. How many observations are given? Only one observation is given, 5. How do you find out the average of 5? Sum of the numbers divided by total number of observations. How many observations are given? Only one. So 5 divided by 1 is equal to 5. It is tallied, right? So expectation of a constant will be always a constant. And the second property is expectation of a into x is equal to a into expectation of x. That means the constant will come out of the expectation and the variable will remains the same. So now expectation of 5x is equal to 5 into expectation of x. Actually, a into b means expectation of a into b means expectation of a into expectation of b, and here a is a constant, so it came out, and b is a variable here. That means x is a variable, so it remains same. Now third one is expectation of ax. Sorry, let's see the fourth one first of all. The combination of first and second is the fourth one. Expectation of ax plus b is equal a into expectation of x plus b, means expectation of 2x plus 3 will become 2 into expectation of x plus 3. And the fourth one is the extension of this one, that I have given two variables over here. Ax plus by is equal to a into expectation of x plus b into expectation of y. The example is e of 2x plus 3y is equal to 2 into expectation of x plus 3 into expectation of y is the answer. So that is how, while doing the problems, if we have certain situations, then this is the next step of that particular step. Okay. Now, the next one which we need to be discussed before starting up with the problems is variance of these expectations. That means variance. How do we calculate variance? See, actually, these are the three formulas which are most important for our calculation part. First one is expectation of x minus expectation of x whole square, or expectation of x square minus expectation of x whole square. See, how does this first expression has become the second expression? I've made an Beautiful explanation of that one. So this is an example of a minus b whole square. A minus b whole square means what do we get, man? A square plus b square minus 2ab. Now I've taken expectation to the inside. Then you will get the resultant one. So variance formula is expectation of x square minus expectation of x whole square. So now expectation of x square can be written as x square into p of x. See, expectation of x, what is the formula of expectation of x? X into p of x. Within the bracket, whatever it is there, we are writing the same. X into p of x. If instead of x, if we are having x square, we write x square into p of x. If we are having expectation of x cube, then the formula will be summation of x cube into p of x. Okay. By using these formulas, both the formulas, we try to find out mean and variance of a given probability functions. Okay. Now next, similarly, as similar to the expectation, we have four properties of variances also. Now, variance of a constant is 0. First one, variance of a constant is 0. Why the variance of a constant is 0 here? See, let's take an example, the same one. There is a variable 2. I wanted to find out the variance. Variance means what? The average distance from the mean. If only one observation is given, that will be the same average, right? If you are finding out the average of the number 2, you get the number 2, right? Then let's simply substitute in the formula of variance. Summation x minus x bar whole square by n, right? X minus x bar means x is 2, x bar is also 2. So 2 minus 2 will become 0. 0 power something, 0. 0 by something is 0, right? So that is how variance of a constant is always a 0. Next, second one is variance of ax is equal a square into variance of x. Now once if a is, that means if a constant is coming out of the expression in the expectation of 2x means 2 into expectation of x, but in variance of 5x means it is 5 square into variance of x. So that is how we have 25 into variance of x. These are the most important properties what we need to remember while solving the problems. Okay. The similar one followed with variance of ax plus b. It is a combination of first and second. Okay. Ax plus b is equal a square into variance of x, and anyways b is a constant, variance of a constant is 0. Okay. So these are the properties which are required to solve the respective problems. Now I've already just told you that before starting off with the problems, we have to be confident that whether it is a probability function or not, any problem. See, there is an experiment which is having outcomes of 0, 1, 2, 3. How many outcomes are there? There are 8 outcomes are there here. Okay. So now, before starting off with the problem, I need to confirm one condition. What is that? Always total probability should be equal to 1. Unless until I cannot continue further, because since it is a probability function means probability, total probability should be equal to 1. So I'm going to check that condition over here. Now 1 by 8 plus 3 by 8 plus again 3 by 8 plus 1 by 8. So since 8 is a common denominator, we have LCM as 8 itself. Now we can add the numerators, just 1 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 whole divided by 8. That is equal 1 plus 3, 4, 3 plus 1, 4, 4 plus 4 is 8. So 8 by 8 is equal to 1. Therefore, total probability is equal to 1. Hence, it is a probability function. Then only we can continue further, whatever the question might be asked, so that we can see to that whether we can find mean or variance. Then only we get the apt answers. Otherwise, we get the wrong answer. We may get the answer, but it is finally meaningless answer. Okay, let's see the example number 2. See this, by seeing this problem, we can identify that it is a result of an experiment. See, I already told you that when a single die is thrown, what are the outcomes we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the probabilities are 1 by 6, 1 by 6, 1 by 6. Now see this expression, what are the outcomes that we are having? A random variable x is taking the values from 2 to 12. 2 to 12. In probability, all the denominators are common. And what is that commonality? That is 36. I think 36 usually comes with the total number of exact events. 36 comes at when two dice are thrown. When two dice are thrown, and this is an experiment as a result of getting the sum number 2, sum 3, sum 4, 5, 6, 7 up to 12. See, how does this probabilities have come? See, let us see the first one. Probability of getting 2. What is the probability of getting number 2? Total number of exact events is 36. So the denominator will be 36. Now, in the combination of 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, like up to the last value will be 6, 6, right? Out of these, we have only one combination 1, 1, where we get the sum 2. Next, the second one is probability of getting sum 3 is how much? 1, 2 as well 2, 1. So the answer is 2 by 36. Similarly, the probability of getting sum 4 is 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 3. That means 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1. We have three choices, three favorable number of cases. So it is 3 by 36. Likewise, see the concept of 11 also. 5, 6 and 6, 5. So it is 2 by 36, and the sum getting 12 is only one combination where it is 6, 6. So that is why it is 1 by 36. Okay. So again, if you wanted to find out whether it is a perfect probability function or not, then again we need to add the probability. Since all the denominators are 36, our LCM also will be 36 itself. Then I can add simply the numerator values: 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 whole divided by 36. That is equal, simply adding the numerator values. What is the answer we get? 3, 6, 10, 15, 21, 26, 30, 33, 35 plus 1, 36. So 36 divided by 36, we get the answer as 1. Hence, the total probability is equal to 1. It is of probability function. Once we define the total probability is equal to 1, then only we continue to the further steps.